You're standing at your bathroom mirror at 3 a.m., staring at yourself with bloodshot eyes. Your mind is racing, replaying the same decision over and over. Everyone you trust has given you the same advice. Your family, your friends, your mentors, even strangers on the internet. They all say you'd be crazy not to take this opportunity, but something deep inside you is screaming no, so loudly you can barely think straight. And here's a statistic that might shock you. Research shows that 87% of people who ignore their gut instincts in major life decisions report significant regret within 2 years. Yet we live in a world that teaches us to distrust the very guidance system that could save us from our biggest mistakes. You're sitting in a meeting room and something feels off. Everyone around the table is nodding in agreement, but there's a voice inside you whispering, "This isn't right." Your stomach tightens. Every logical argument being presented makes perfect sense, yet something deeper is screaming in protest. You look around at all the confident faces and wonder, am I the only one who sees this differently? This moment happens more often than we care to admit. That uncomfortable space where your inner knowing clashes with external consensus, where you're forced to choose between fitting in and honoring the voice that speaks from your deepest wisdom. I've spent decades studying this phenomenon, and what I've discovered might surprise you. The moments when everyone says you're wrong are often the very moments when your intuition is working perfectly. But here's what's fascinating from a scientific perspective. Recent neuroscience research reveals that your unconscious mind processes information 500,000 times faster than your conscious thought. While you're consciously analyzing 7 pieces of data, your intuitive system is synthesizing millions of subtle cues, patterns, and energetic information that your rational mind never even detects. Your intuition notices the micro-expressions that flash across someone's face for just 1/25th of a second. It detects the inconsistencies between what people say and how their body language betrays their true intentions. It reads the energy of environments and picks up on social dynamics that exist below the surface of polite conversation. But here's where most people get confused. We've been taught to worship external validation from the moment we take our first breath. From birth, we learn to trust experts over our own experience. We learn to value consensus over personal truth. We learn to doubt our inner voice when it doesn't match popular opinion. Think about your own childhood for a moment. How many times were you told to ignore what you were feeling because an adult knew better? How often were your instincts about people dismissed as being too sensitive or overthinking? These early experiences create what I call intuitive conditioning, where we systematically learn to distrust our most sophisticated guidance system. Let me tell you about Maria, a successful businesswoman who was offered what everyone called the opportunity of a lifetime. A partnership in a prestigious law firm. Great money, incredible prestige. Everyone in her life was telling her she'd be crazy not to take it. Her family was excited, her friends were envious. Her financial advisor was practically pushing her to sign the contract. But Maria couldn't sleep. Every time she thought about accepting the offer, she felt a heaviness in her chest that made it hard to breathe. When she shared her hesitation, others dismissed her concerns. They told her she was overthinking. They said she was scared of success. Her mother reminded her of all the sacrifices the family had made for her education. Maria almost signed the contract, but something made her pause and examine what her body was telling her. Her intuition was picking up on subtle cues her logical mind had overlooked. The partner's communication style felt manipulative during meetings. Their values didn't align with hers. The company culture felt toxic in ways she couldn't articulate but could definitely feel. 6 months after Maria declined the offer, the firm was investigated for fraudulent practices. 3 partners were indicted for embezzling client funds. The prestigious reputation was destroyed overnight. Her intuition had been trying to protect her from a disaster that her logical mind couldn't have predicted. But here's what nobody tells you about trusting your gut when others disagree. The pressure to conform triggers our deepest survival fears. We're biologically wired for belonging. Our ancestors, who were cast out from the tribe, often didn't survive the harsh realities of isolation. When we sense that our truth might separate us from others, every alarm bell in our ancient nervous system starts ringing. This is why so many people abandon their intuition for consensus. It feels safer to be wrong with everyone else than to be right alone. But this safety is an illusion that costs us everything that matters. Think about your own life for a moment. Remember the times you knew something was wrong, but ignored that knowing because others disagreed. That relationship that felt off from day one, but everyone said you made such a good couple. That job opportunity that didn't feel right in your bones, but looked perfect on paper. That friend who gave you an uneasy feeling, but came with glowing references from mutual acquaintances. Now here's where it gets interesting. These experiences teach painful but essential lessons about abandoning our inner guidance. When we consistently choose external validation over internal wisdom, we develop what I call intuitive amnesia. We literally forget how to access our own knowing. We become dependent on others to tell us what's true about our own experience. Watch what happens in your body when you're about to betray your inner knowing. Your breathing becomes shallow and restricted. Your shoulders tense up toward your ears. You might feel nauseous or get a sudden headache. Your sleep becomes restless and fragmented. These aren't random symptoms. They're your body's emergency broadcast system telling you you're moving away from your authentic path. But here's something fascinating that most people never discover. Your body also tells you when you're aligned with your authentic truth. Even if the decision feels scary or uncertain, there's a sense of rightness that settles into your bones. You breathe more deeply and naturally. Your muscles relax. You might feel afraid of the unknown, but underneath that fear is a steady calm that whispers, "This is the way forward." Most of us have been taught to ignore these physical signals in favor of what sounds reasonable on paper. We've been conditioned to believe that if we can't explain something rationally, it's not valid information. This creates a tragic split between our thinking and our feeling, between logic and wisdom, between our head and our heart. But wait until you hear this. Your intuition isn't the opposite of logic. It's actually a more sophisticated form of intelligence. Logic works with known, quantifiable information. Intuition works with patterns, energy, and information that exists below the threshold of conscious awareness. The problem arises when we try to use only logic in situations that require intuitive intelligence. When you're buying a house, the numbers absolutely matter. Square footage, price per square foot, neighborhood comparables, inspection reports. But when you walk through the front door, your body tells you whether this place could actually become home. The feeling you get when you stand in the kitchen, the way the light falls through the windows, the energy of the neighborhood. Both kinds of information are essential for making the right choice. When you're hiring someone for your team, their resume and references provide valuable data about their skills and experience. But when you sit across from them in the interview, your intuition reads their character, their integrity, their compatibility with your company culture. Ignore either source of information at your own peril. Let me share another story that illustrates this perfectly. Sarah was a nurse who had worked in hospitals for 15 years. She was offered a position at a new medical facility that looked incredible on paper. State-of-the-art equipment, higher salary, better benefits, prestigious location. But during her interview tour, something felt wrong. The staff interactions seemed forced. The administrator's smile never reached her eyes. The patients appeared anxious in a way that went beyond normal medical concerns. Sarah couldn't put her finger on any specific problem, but her intuition was sending clear warning signals. Against the advice of her husband and colleagues, Sarah declined the position. 6 months later, news broke that the facility was under investigation for patient neglect and insurance fraud. The working conditions were revealed to be toxic, with nurses reporting dangerous patient-to-staff ratios and pressure to cut corners on care. Sarah's intuition had been reading the subtle energy of an organization in crisis. Information that wasn't available in the job description or salary offer. Now you might be thinking, how do I know the difference between authentic, intuitive guidance and just anxiety or wishful thinking? This is one of the most important distinctions you can learn to make. Here's what I've discovered about authentic, intuitive guidance. Your true inner voice is usually quiet and steady. It comes with a sense of knowing rather than emotional charge. It feels like remembering something you already knew rather than learning something completely new. Fear-based thoughts, on the other hand, are loud and frantic. They create anxiety in your body and often replay the same worried thoughts in loops. Wishful thinking tends to focus on what you want to be true rather than what actually is true. It often ignores red flags because the desired outcome is more important than reality. Authentic intuition doesn't care about your preferences. It simply presents information about what serves your highest good, even when that information is uncomfortable or inconvenient. Here's a practical technique you can use right now to access your intuitive guidance. Find a quiet space and take 3 deep breaths. Think about a decision you're currently facing. Notice what happens in your body when you imagine choosing option A. Do your muscles tense or relax? Does your breathing become shallow or deep? Do you feel energized or drained? Now imagine choosing option B and notice your body's response. Your physical reactions are giving you sophisticated information about which choice aligns with your authentic path. This isn't just New Age thinking. It's based on solid research about how our nervous system processes below conscious awareness. But trusting this guidance when everyone disagrees requires what I call intuitive courage. This isn't about being stubborn or refusing input from others. It's about maintaining connection to your own truth while remaining open to external perspectives. It's about honoring your inner authority without becoming closed off to valuable feedback. Sometimes your intuition will guide you toward decisions that don't make sense in the moment, but prove exactly right over time. Sometimes it will steer you away from opportunities that look perfect, but would have been wrong for your unique path. Sometimes it will nudge you toward choices that challenge you to grow in ways you never expected. Consider the story of James, a successful accountant who felt an inexplicable urge to learn pottery. This made no logical sense. He had no artistic background, no financial need for a hobby, and barely enough time for his existing responsibilities. His wife thought he was having a midlife crisis. His friends made jokes about his pottery phase. But James followed his intuitive nudge. He enrolled in weekend classes and discovered not just a passion for creating with his hands, but a natural talent that surprised everyone, including himself. Within 2 years, he was selling his pieces at local galleries. Within 5 years, he had transitioned to pottery full-time and was earning more money doing work he loved than he ever had as an accountant. James' intuition was guiding him toward his authentic creative expression years before his logical mind could have recognized this possibility. One of the most powerful practices you can develop is learning to sit with uncertainty when your inner knowing conflicts with external pressure. Instead of immediately seeking validation from others, or talking yourself out of what you're sensing. Create space to feel into the truth more deeply. Here are some questions that can help you access your authentic guidance. What is my body telling me about this situation? What would I choose if I didn't have to explain my decision to anyone? What feels most aligned with who I'm becoming rather than who I've been? What choice honors my deepest values, even if it's not the most popular or practical option? This process isn't always comfortable. Your intuition might guide you to leave a secure job to pursue your passion. It might tell you to end a relationship that looks good on paper, but doesn't feel right in your heart. It might nudge you to speak up when everyone else is staying silent about an important issue. These moments test your commitment to your own truth. They reveal whether you're willing to honor your inner authority or abandon it for the temporary safety of external approval. The choice you make in these moments shapes not just your circumstances, but your relationship with yourself. Here's something most people don't realize. When you consistently choose intuitive guidance over external pressure, something profound happens in your neurology. You literally rewire your brain to trust your own wisdom. You stop looking to others to validate your experience. You begin making decisions from your authentic center rather than from fear, conditioning, or the need to please others. But this next part might shock you. People might not understand your choices when you start living this way. They might question your decisions, criticize your path, or try to convince you that you're making a mistake. This isn't just inconvenient social friction. It's actually a necessary part of the journey. When you're living from authentic truth, you'll inevitably challenge others who are living from conformity, fear, or external validation. Your willingness to trust your inner guidance becomes a mirror that reflects their own disconnection from their intuitive wisdom. This can make people uncomfortable, and they may try to pull you back into the safety of collective agreement. But here's the beautiful paradox. Your courage to stand with your truth, even when others disagree, gives permission for those around you to do the same. Your example shows that it's possible to navigate life from inner wisdom rather than external approval. You become a beacon for those who are struggling to find their own voice, but haven't yet developed the courage to honor it. This path requires ongoing practice and commitment. Our culture is constantly trying to pull us back into external validation. Social media encourages us to seek likes and approval from strangers. Advertising tells us we need experts to solve our problems. News media creates fear and uncertainty that makes us doubt our own perceptions of reality. To maintain connection to intuitive guidance, you must create regular practices that help you return to your center. This might be meditation, time in nature, journaling, or simply creating quiet space to listen to your inner voice. These aren't luxuries or optional self-care activities. They're essential maintenance for your most important navigation system. You must also learn to trust the process, even when you can't see the outcome. Sometimes your intuition will guide you into situations that feel uncertain or challenging. You might not understand why you're being led in a particular direction. The path might not make logical sense to others, or even to your own rational mind. But if you stay connected to your inner guidance and keep taking the next right step, the wisdom of the journey often reveals itself over time. What seemed like a detour becomes the exact experience you needed for your growth. What felt like a mistake becomes the foundation for your next breakthrough. Remember that your intuition isn't trying to make your life easier or more comfortable. It's trying to make your life more authentic and aligned with your soul's purpose. It's guiding you toward experiences that will help you grow, heal, and become who you're meant to be. Sometimes this involves difficult choices, uncomfortable truths, or challenging paths that test your courage and commitment. But when you honor your intuitive guidance consistently, you discover something remarkable. Life begins to flow more naturally. Opportunities appear that you couldn't have planned or predicted. People show up who support your authentic path. Circumstances align in ways that feel almost magical, but are actually the natural result of living in alignment with your truth. This alignment doesn't guarantee that life becomes easy or without challenges. It means that your challenges become meaningful. Your struggles serve your growth rather than depleting your spirit. Your choices reflect your values rather than your fears. Your life becomes an expression of who you really are rather than who others think you should be. Think about the people throughout history who trusted their inner wisdom when everyone else said they were wrong. Every significant advancement in human consciousness has come from individuals who honored their inner knowing despite external opposition. Every breakthrough, every innovation, every leap forward in human understanding has required someone to trust their intuition over conventional wisdom. Scientists who pursued theories that contradicted established knowledge. Artists who created work that challenged popular taste. Social reformers who spoke truth that society wasn't ready to hear. Entrepreneurs who built companies around ideas that seemed impossible. Spiritual teachers who shared insights that threatened existing power structures. Your willingness to honor your inner guidance isn't just about your personal fulfillment. It's about contributing to the evolution of human consciousness. When you live from authentic truth, you add your unique piece to the larger puzzle of human potential. You become part of the solution to a world that has become dangerously disconnected from its own wisdom. The choice is always before you. In every moment, in every decision, in every interaction, you can choose to honor your inner knowing or abandon it for external approval. You can trust your sophisticated internal guidance system or defer to the opinions of others. You can live from your center or from your conditioning. This choice isn't made once and then forgotten. It's made moment by moment, decision by decision, interaction by interaction throughout your entire life. Each time you choose to honor your intuition over external pressure, you strengthen your connection to your own wisdom. Each time you abandon your inner knowing for the safety of consensus, you weaken that connection. The question that will determine the quality of your life is simple but profound. When your inner wisdom conflicts with external opinion, which voice will you choose to follow? The answer to this question will shape not just what you do, but who you become. It will determine whether you live as an authentic expression of your deepest truth or as a reflection of other people's expectations and fears. Your intuition is waiting for you to trust it. Your inner wisdom is ready to guide you toward a life of greater meaning, purpose, and fulfillment. The sophisticated guidance system that has been with you since birth is eager to help you navigate the complexities of modern life with grace and authenticity. The only question remaining is whether you're ready to honor the voice that has always known the way home to yourself. Whether you're willing to trust the wisdom that speaks not in words but in feelings, not in explanations but in knowing, not in certainty but in faith that the path will reveal itself one step at a time. The world is waiting for what you came here to contribute, but you can only give your authentic gifts when you're living from your authentic truth. And you can only access your authentic truth when you have the courage to trust your intuition, especially when everyone says you're wrong